Wow, what an opener to the Western Conference Finals in Denver, where Nikola Jokic played just about the best 3 quarters of offense I've ever seen, only for the Lakers to completely change up how they defended him in the fourth, which sparked a furious late-game rally. Jokic was coming off one of the best playoff series we've seen in a long time offensively, while Anthony Davis, his counterpart in the middle, has authored an incredibly dominant playoff run protecting the rim. And yes, Davis started this game on Jokic. The Lakers actually doubled right away without any harm, although Jamal Murray was able to attack and just missed a bunny at the basket. But Jokic had a ton of success going against Davis one-on-one. Here, Davis is focused on taking away this cutter pass, so Jokic just drives it right by him and finishes at the hoop. On this one, Davis is tracking the defensive rebound, Aaron Gordon keeps it alive, and that means no one is out on Jokic at the perimeter, and he walks into a warm-up shot. And that's the tricky part about defending Jokic. You have to worry about his passing, his outside shooting, his movement, and then when he catches it on the block, he can go to work and spins off for the dunk. Later in the third, it's the two-man game with Murray and Jokic. They bring a third defender over to help. Davis recovers well to the ball, but Jokic does some pirouetting, finally spins around and hits him with the old Sombor shuffle. Whew! This is all the more impressive when you remember that Davis is having one of the most dominant defensive playoffs of the decade, where opponents are shooting 19% worse around the basket than expected, according to Second Spectrum. And AD is agile enough to stay with a Jokic drive here and almost blocks that little flip shot on a good possession. A few minutes later, they get a deep post catch for Jokic, and this time Davis does block it. But the matchup presented all kinds of issues for AD and the Lakers. First of all, in transition, Jokic can grab and go like a point guard and beat Davis down the court, so he's not there to protect the rim, and it's a beautiful pass for a layup. Davis tries to take Jokic one-on-one on this one. He actually blocks him under the basket to return the favor, and that leaves AD behind the play. So when Jokic pushes it ahead, the Nuggets don't have to worry about a shot blocker. Gordon throws it away, or it would have been another layup. This one is off a scramble sequence where Jokic grabs the board and go. Davis is already back in the paint, but he needs to go help on Michael Porter Jr. in the corner, and that means Jokic can wedge himself under the basket against smaller Lakers for rebounding, grabs his 10th board of the quarter, and puts it back. And so another element here is that when Davis has to leave Jokic to help, he can't put a body on him to rebound. That's one of Jokic's 6 offensive rebounds of the first half. And staying connected to Jokic is a real issue. Davis wants to come off him and protect the paint against cuts like this from Michael Porter Jr., but that space means Jokic can comfortably curl off a screen like this and walk into an open jumper. And in many ways, the last thing the Lakers want is AD chasing Jokic around screens outside of the paint. Here he gets a little stuck, and Jokic just waltzes into a movement 3 because he doesn't miss. This one's even more ridiculous. Coming down in transition, Davis is watching Jokic out of the corner of his eye. Jamal Murray sets a little flare screen. Davis isn't even sure whether to go under or over, and Jokic just catches it and goes and finishes with a one-legged righty floater off the glass. I wasn't exaggerating when I said he played maybe the most exquisite 3 quarters of offensive basketball maybe you could possibly play, pouring in 31 points, dishing out 12 assists, only missing 3 shots, while the Nuggets posted a 143 offensive rating with him on the floor. And in the Suns series, we recently talked about how this screen and cut into a post-up causes all kinds of problems for defenses. And it's more of this same issue with Davis chasing Jokic away from the ball. This could be a Spain pick and roll, it could be a back screen for Jokic, and the Nuggets actually turn it into a Murray-Jokic ball screen that leads to a wide open 3. And the reason it's wide open is because instead of stepping up to the ball to guard Murray, Davis is worried about Jokic cutting off the screen in the other direction. It's a miscommunication with D'Angelo Russell and an open shot. A couple minutes later, we see that cut. KCP sets the screen at the foul line. Jokic wheels off and catches it in the post, and now he puts Davis in the meat grinder, pulverizing him into powder right under the basket for an easy little fade. The next time down, it's the same cut. Jokic gets the catch in the same spot, and boop, it's a backdoor for an open layup. And again, when Jokic throws this pass, KCP isn't even open, nor has he started to really move, but they just know each other so well that he cuts into the space and it's a layup. So the very next play, they run the exact same action. Davis has seen it enough that he knows what's coming. So instead of cutting, Jokic flares out to the three-point line instead. That leaves Davis way behind the play. Austin Reeves has to come over and help. It's an easy pitch and catch to Michael Porter, who cans a triple. And the thing is, when Jokic starts moving around like this and making threes and jumpers from all over the place, Davis doesn't want to leave him on these handoff actions with Murray. So this collapses the entire defense. He gets a kick out to KCP, and the Nuggets' shot quality was like a warm-up line. Here's a more subtle example late in the quarter where Jared Vanderbilt is pressed up a little too tightly on Bruce Brown. He gets a step and takes it down the lane for a dunk, and the reason Davis doesn't help is he's busy thinking about Jokic's corner screening action, and by the time he turns around, it's too late. These Jokic cuts can be so challenging that they create a little off-ball gravity. Here, slicing across the lane into open space, LeBron James sees it, so he sinks way down to help, and with 2 on Jokic, someone's open on the outside, and it's more KCP shooting. And this gravitational pull that takes Davis out of the paint is even relevant when Jokic has the ball, because when he passes to these cutters, Davis isn't there to block it. And this even shows up on something subtle like a shot contest where Jokic is in the post, goes to a spin move, and because Davis is contesting the jumper, when he passes it to KCP, Davis can't come from the weak side and save the day. Instead, what the Lakers are looking for is Davis's constant presence around the basket, altering shots like we saw during the last 2 series. And this play in the first quarter actually created the blueprint. Davis was on Michael Porter Jr. because of a cross match. They clear out the side for Aaron Gordon, but now AD can roam under the hoop and play goalkeeper, and he's there to completely inhale the shot, even though it was a mismatch. And that gets us to the key change in this game that almost swung it for the Lakers. In an 11-point game in the fourth, Rui Hachimura guarded Jokic with Davis roaming off of Jeff Green. And right away in the first possession, the Nuggets offense was a little discombobulated. You see Jokic try a pass and cut, but Green misses it back to him as Davis closes out, and it's a foul under the basket that probably saves a layup. But the Lakers were really on to something here because Rui is at least strong enough to push Jokic off the block on his catch, and the Nuggets were a bit thrown off offensively down the stretch because of this. This is essentially the same tactic we saw the Celtics go to in the last video against the 76ers, and incidentally, it's the exact same tactic that Philadelphia used against Denver in their regular season matchup earlier this year that again threw the Nuggets off, having Joel Embiid roam away from the basket. And on a play like this, you could see the power of it, where Jokic spins into the paint, and his pass to Aaron Gordon is a lot harder over Davis, who deflects it and triggers a Lakers fast break. LeBron gets all the way downhill into the paint, and it's free throws, and the comeback is on. Now, I think there are ways for the Nuggets to counter this, but the one thing it does for the Lakers is it puts Davis in position to be a wrecking ball roaming around under the basket so he can defend cutters or these passing actions on the interior. They go to essentially the exact same configuration on this play. Jokic backs him down, Davis comes over, he turns to pass, LeBron helps on the inside, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope hits a huge runner that keeps the Lakers at bay. And in the final possession of the game, the tactic almost works perfectly. Jokic springs by Hachimura, but then Davis can help at the basket. He almost blocks the shot, but gets a little too much of the wrist and arm in the process. And those free throws secure the victory for Denver after an incredible fourth quarter comeback that just fell short. And even though they won, the Nuggets have another adjustment to consider on the other side of the ball because the Lakers successfully attacked Jamal Murray in pick and roll over and over again, creating a mismatch with the much larger LeBron James against this soft switch. Throughout the night, this got the Lakers great shots and helped them come back in this game. Either way, this was an incredible opening game where both teams shot nearly 50% from downtown, and if the rest of this series is anything like this game, it's going to be an all-time classic. We'll have more on this series in the next episode of the Thinking Basketball podcast. To directly support this channel and all things we do, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thinkingbasketball. We have additional content, a community, monthly Q&A, and our stats board that updates daily throughout the playoffs that helps us make these videos. Thanks so much for watching all the way through, and wherever you are, I do hope you're having a great day.